Hello, everybody. We are live. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And I'm going to leave a few minutes to let people kind of trickle in and just kind of get settled. But I would love to know if you're here, maybe just write a little hello. Let me know that you're tuning in. I'd love to hear from you. And just a couple of quick little notes. I do have my assistant here with me today. That is my dog Loca. So you might hear her, you might not. She may decide to take a little nap. If she's within arm's reach, I will gladly introduce her to you, but just be aware of that. Hi Jenna, thank you for being here. Hi Jasmine. Guys, this is so much fun. So I'm really excited to chat with you today on behalf of the Nutritional Therapy Association. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Hello, Kimmy. So I want to really respect your time. I imagine some of you are maybe taking your lunch break to tune in with me today. So I do want to get started as people start to trickle in. That's totally fine. Definitely keep saying hello. I love knowing that you're here. So I want to give you a brief rundown really quickly just of what you can expect from this little chat today. And hopefully I'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. But today I'm just going to be sharing with you a little bit about me, what led me to the Nutritional Therapy Association, why I decided to go that route, what I've been doing with my certification since. And then I'm going to give you a little breakdown of kind of what to expect from the programs. So whether you go with the practitioner track or the consultant track, I'm going to give you a little idea of what both of those look like. Then I'm also going to cover just some common obstacles and fears that I hear from people on if they should even get this certification in the first place. Is it worth it? Are they worth it? I'm going to cover some of those things as well. And then talk a little bit about what next. So you've gotten your certification, what do you do with it? And then I'll give you some information on enrollment, and then I will leave the end open for questions. So hopefully I won't take up too much time sharing my spiel. I do want to get to your questions, so definitely be thinking on those. You're welcome to go ahead and pop those in the comments if you have them, and I'll go back through and I'll try to address as many of those as I can. If you were not able to tune in live, that's okay. You can watch the replay and you can still get all of this awesome information. So let's dive right in and let me share a little bit about myself. So I'm Ashley Castle, if I neglected to mention that already. I am a nutritional therapy practitioner, and I am joining you today from Colorado. So I have been living here for, 4 years now. My husband's in the military, so that's an added element to my story and why I chose to go with the Nutritional Therapy Association. So I'll get into that more here in a little bit. But I'm literally looking out the window at Pikes Peak right now, which is incredible. That's not a brag. Just definitely come visit if you would like. But Colorado is an amazing place to be. I was living in Wichita, Kansas before. That was our first duty station. I'm originally from Missouri, just outside of Kansas City. So when we were living in Wichita, I was a new spouse. I was just kind of getting my bearings around the kitchen and preparing meals. And I had read Michael Pollan's book, The Omnivore's Dilemma. Exceptional book. I highly recommend it. And it just really got me thinking about food and where it comes from and how it's produced and the myriad of ways that it shouldn't be produced. And it kind of lit a fire. And I, at the same time, connected with a local farmer in the area. And she was following a rotational grazing standard with her livestock. And I just thought it was the most incredible thing. It kind of just solidified for me, this is how things are supposed to be done. This just makes sense. So that kind of lit the fire for me as I was kind of just beginning to get curious about my own health and really how I could nourish myself through real food. So I just started doing some digging, and I ran into the Nutritional Therapy Association, I think through someone's blog online, and was reading up kind of on their just their structure and how they approach health. And it just fully lined up with a lot of what I was already doing. It was just kind of like, yes, this just makes sense. I looked at their reading list. I had already read several of those books, and it was like, this is what I need to be doing. And at that point in time, I didn't even know necessarily what I might do with it afterward. I just knew that I wanted to further solidify what I had already been learning, and I wanted to do that in a structured environment. So I chose to go the practitioner track. And I'll talk a little bit more here in just a minute on the difference between the practitioner and the consultant track. But that was really what made the most sense for me. I wanted to become a practitioner. And so I did my course down in Austin, Texas, which was super fun. That's an incredible thing about if you go the practitioner track and you do have those in-person workshops, there are so many different venues that you can choose from. And again, I'll come back to that here in just a second. So that was sort of what led me to the NTA in the first place. That's what really ignited my fire. I finished my certification in August of 2015, and less than a month later, my husband and I moved out here to Colorado. So I had a pretty quick transition to have to try and figure out, okay, now what? What do I do with this? I'm in a new area. So what was pretty cool was at the time my husband was training with an elite athlete program through the Air Force, and I got to work with some of his athlete friends. So it was a really interesting way to get my practitioner feet wet. It was super intimidating, and I say that just to show you that once you get your certification, absolutely the best way to go about what to do with it is just to do something. You will probably feel unprepared, just like working a new muscle. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but the best way to tackle that is just to do it. And you'll be amazed at the wealth of knowledge that you leave the program with. And I'll talk about that more here in just a second. But I worked with some athletes, and what that really showed me was that everyone kind of has to start in the same place with their health journey. So you still have to focus on nourishing the body well through real food. You have to focus on how you're even approaching your plate, the mindset that you're coming to the table with, how you're eating. Are you digesting well? All of these core foundational things that you will learn throughout the program, no matter what someone is coming to the table with, you're still going to kind of need to start in the same place. So I share that just to tell you that it can feel really daunting and intimidating when you look at the host of just health woes that people are struggling with today and number of disease diagnoses out there. And you can think there's absolutely no way that I could help someone with this whole laundry list of ailments. And the truth is, you have to start somewhere. And it's always going to be your best bet to start by encouraging someone to build up their health by way of real food and quality nourishment. So that was, again, an interesting way that I got my start. I kind of just fell into this opportunity and I took it headlong. And it really was encouraging to see that no matter what someone is coming to you with, they need the help that you're going to have to give them. So since then, I have built my website, I've built my business. I primarily see online clients. And one of my kind of biggest things that I really enjoy is connecting with local food producers. So people that are practicing just amazing, exceptional, regenerative farming, or people that are raising meat properly. I love to make that connection for myself so that I have access to those foods, but then it's exceptional to be able to pass that along to clients and just share with people, here's how you can find things like that. And it also opens the door for incredible opportunities. So those are some great connections to make. I started a podcast, oh my goodness, end of 2017. That's called Nutrition Unscripted. And that has been on a seasonal break. It's about to come back in April. And then I also chose to get a little bit additional training. And so I also became a restorative wellness practitioner. So that allows me to incorporate some stool testing and some food sensitivity testing as well. So I want to talk a little bit just about Nutritional Therapy Association and the program itself and what you can expect from it. So the official tagline of the NTA is real education for those who believe in real food. And I think it really is that simple. What complicates this is how confusing and how convoluted real food has become in our society. We have all of these frankenfoods. We have just this onslaught of convenience foods, thousands of new processed food products hitting the market daily. It's really confusing for people to know, what the heck do I even eat? So many people are out of tune, they're out of touch with their bodies, with the foods that they're putting into their bodies. And really what the Nutritional Therapy Association has created is kind of this amazing grassroots movement to take back our health with the tools and resources that we've always had by way of real, pure, whole, nourishing food. And it's just something we've kind of forgotten with all of the noise and the chaos of all of this processed food that we have at our disposal. The fact that we are increasingly busy and overtaxed and overstressed and overworked. So many people just don't stop to think about, what am I even putting into my body? It's path of least resistance. How do I just get a little bit of nourishment to continue on with my day? And oftentimes people don't stop to really consider that until something drastic happens. There's a health diagnosis or something along those lines. So with the Nutritional Therapy Association, it really makes you a part of this incredible movement. This work is so important and it's so needed, because one of the big things that you see, and you have perhaps dealt with yourself, is, when someone gets some kind of dire health diagnosis, it can be incredibly disempowering, where people are told by a doctor, like, you have this disease, sorry about it, you're going to have to rely on this medication or my help for the rest of your life. And that's not to discredit that, and it's not to say that that is not the path that needs to be taken sometimes, but it often leaves people, as I mentioned, really disempowered, where you start to think like, okay, well, there's nothing that I can do, and there's always something that we can do. So this is really a program that equips you to show your clients what they can do, to really give a focus on, here's where you have the capacity to change. Here are the tools and the steps that you can take. And what that does is it empowers them to then take the lead role in their own health story. And that's what I find myself doing most often with clients. It's kind of serving as that guide, that encourager, that empower, to show people, you've got the tools. This is just a reminder of what they are, and it's equipping them to then be able to go and use that in their own lives for the benefit of their own health. So one of the biggest pieces of this work is connecting clients with their food and with their bodies. We're so disconnected with all of our bodies' many cries for help. Sometimes we can be dealing with a particular ailment or issue, and it can be such a simple fix as just drinking enough water. So with food, through sourcing locally, getting to know where their food comes from, that's one aspect of it. It's also with learning how to nourish well with that food and the impact that that can have on our health. And also connecting people with their bodies, learning the body's cues, learning the feedback that it's constantly giving us, learning the nuances and kind of the ways that our body tells us when things are off. So that's really, I would say, the cradle of where most of my work with clients lies, and likely where most of your work with clients will lie as well. It's going to start with this really foundational aspect of looking at the gut. What's it doing? Is it able to get the food that you're giving it in the first place? Are you digesting well? But it's also looking at the mind also. So it has to start with these kind of roots of the body's health and dysfunction. Similarly, you can't neglect that mind component as well. And that just kind of comes out when you're working with clients. People are sharing their stories with you. They're sharing places of deep hurt oftentimes. There's so much emotional connection with our food. There's so much of that kind of feeling like you're in a dire position or you're completely disempowered because of some particular health struggle. And so that's kind of where you come in as well, as that guide, as that facilitator. I call myself an interpreter, where it's really helping someone create a roadmap back to understanding their own body. And I always tell my clients, I am here for a season. I am not here to create dependency on me or on a program that I create for you. I am here to empower and equip you with the tools so that you can carry on your own journey. And I really take that personally as such an immense honor when someone shares their story and their health struggles with me. We place so much emotional attachment to our food, to our habits. So it puts you in a very unique place to be able to sit with someone and encourage them and empower them on that journey. So I want to check in with you guys and make sure that you're still with me. Awesome. Definitely, if you have questions so far and you want to pop those into the comments, feel free to do that at any point during this little chat. I want to next share with you kind of a general course breakdown. So what can you expect if you go through this program, if you choose to do the practitioner versus the consultant track, kind of some differences that you can see between there. All right, so one of the coolest things about the Nutritional Therapy Association and just the training that you'll go through is, in so many ways, you are really finding your community. So it is this really special, really unique conglomeration of people from all over the place with all kinds of different stories and journeys and struggles coming together for this kind of unifying cause that I talked about before. So when you go through this course, you're basically entering a room, virtually or otherwise, of individuals with no qualms about talking about bone broth and bowel movements. It's really cool to be able to see this like-minded connection of people that are also taking back their own health. It's a very holistic, food-based approach to nutrition and overall health. The other really cool piece about this training is that it takes a very bio-individual approach. And that's something that makes it so different from so many other programs out there. You'll often have people come to you that will say, I have tried literally every weight loss program out there, or they've gone through any number of other programs to try and get a handle on their health. And the thing that's often missing is that these programs are trying to kind of pigeonhole everyone into a very specific thing in a very specific way. So with the Nutritional Therapy Association, that bio-individual approach is looking at the needs of each individual versus a one-size-fits-all square peg round hole type situation. And that makes it so incredibly unique, and your clients see that. They see that in the work that you put in with them as individuals and in the plans and the protocols that you formulate for them based on conversations that you're having. They'll see that difference. They'll begin to see it work in a different way that things haven't before, because they're really getting in tune and in touch with their own bodies. So kind of a breakdown of what you can expect. This is the same whether you go the practitioner track or the consultant track. So what you're going to be focusing on, everything stands on this foundation of a nutrient-dense, properly prepared, whole food diet. It has to start with food. And I think that is honestly like one of the most key pieces. People really need to know that. As I mentioned before, it's confusing to know what the heck that even means anymore, but it's also so empowering when people are able to see, this is something that I can completely control. This is something that I can have say over, and I can always be nourishing my body in this way. So a breakdown of what the program covers. It will look at digestion. It will look at blood sugar regulation. It looks at mineral balance. It looks at hydration, and it looks at dietary fats. And then kind of throughout that whole process, it's also incorporating some client practitioner skills that will equip you to really work one-on-one with somebody. So those are just kind of the core breakdowns of what you can expect. You can learn so much more about the curriculum on the website. I want to just give you a brief idea of kind of what you're going to be tackling in terms of curriculum. And as I mentioned, that all really does have to stand on this foundation of nutrient-dense, properly prepared whole food diet. So that's always what you're going to be coming back to when you're looking at what proper digestion looks like, how to go about coaching people into being able to digest their food better, slowing down when they eat, sitting down, being focused on the task at hand, various things like that. Coaching people on how to drink enough water, because as I mentioned before, that's one of those key pieces that it's so easy to neglect, and yet so many people are dehydrated. And when we are dehydrated, the body is basically like, it's begging for this simple solution that we sometimes just don't know how to give it. So those are just a couple of fundamental things, main differences between the NTP and the NTC programs. Both programs are 9 months long. Both of them have an online component, so you'll be doing the bulk of your work through online courses. You'll have videos, you'll have such a vast wealth of information. It's so incredible what's really packed into this program. With the NTC course, that's completely online. With the NTP course, it's hybridized. So you have 3 in-person workshops throughout the course of that 9 months that you will meet. You'll get together with your other classmates and with your instructors, and you will learn this hands-on functional evaluation. So that's kind of the big difference between the two of them. With the practitioner track, this functional evaluation just goes a little bit deeper into advanced imbalances and deficiencies in the body and how you can use that to really guide your clients. So those are kind of the main biggest differences, and depending on who you are, where you're coming from, what you are wanting to do with your training, that can really kind of help determine which track might be best for you. I did want to mention here that the price currently is $5,400 for both of those. This is the last session coming up. So this coming up May session is the last time that it'll be that price for the NTP course. The NTC course is staying the same, but after this May session, the NTP course will be going up in price. So if you've been debating if this is something that you want to do and you're kind of on the fence about it, I would definitely say take that into consideration before the price goes up. And let's see, that will take effect for the September enrollment. So definitely keep that in mind. The next thing that I wanted to mention is that truly going through this course and kind of what you do afterward, it is what you make of it. You are going to be left with such a vast array of tools and information to be able to go forth and help people, but it's still really up to you what you want to do with it, how you want to navigate that, what you want that to look like, and how you feel most equipped to help people. So there's so much customization that can take place. And I want to share, well, actually, before I get there, I want to tackle kind of some things that, I guess, to touch on where you might be coming from, what likely led you to the NTA in the first place. For many people, it's a combination of dealing with your own personal health issues, as well as maybe a desire to help others more effectively handle their own health issues. So with that, there's no prior experience needed other than a high school diploma. I will note that. But you don't have to come into this from a place of being a practitioner in some other capacity. So I forgot to mention this at the beginning with my story, but I have a degree in Spanish, and that has nothing particularly to do with holistic health. That was just kind of the path that I found myself on in my own personal life, and this desire to really motivate and encourage and empower others and kind of bringing those pieces together. I still love Spanish, but I just say that to show that you don't have to be coming from a place where you already have skills or training in this. You are totally going to be equipped with all of the skills that you need going through this program. I cannot stress that enough. So if you're kind of thinking to yourself like, I don't have any prior health experience or whatever, awesome, that's great. Almost better even if you're coming at it with a totally clean slate. But no matter who you are, where you're coming from, you can totally make this work for you. You don't have to have prior training or skills in order to make that happen. I want to talk a little bit about some common fears and insecurities, and maybe you're in this list. Maybe you've been debating this course for a while and you've been back and forth and you've been telling yourself different stories on why you should or shouldn't do it. I think one of the big fears, insecurities, obstacles that I see a lot is I'm not equipped enough. And as I just mentioned, that's kind of the whole point of going through this course in the first place. It is to equip you. It's to give you the knowledge and the skills and the empowerment to know not only how to help yourself, because sometimes that's all it is for some people. Maybe you want to go through this just for the sake of your own health and that of your family. That's great. That's an exceptional way to go about it. But it's going to equip you either way, whether you decide to keep that to yourself or you want to reach out and help other people with it. That's truly what this course does. Maybe you're coming at it and you're thinking, well, I need more skills or I need more training before I begin. Nope, absolutely not. You could have just found the website today and been pondering it and you're already equipped enough. Likely you've already kind of been on this journey for a little bit on your own already. But you don't have to wait until you have more skills or you feel more equipped. Another thing that I hear, this is a really big one, is I don't have all of my own health stuff figured out yet. And I think that can be a really common obstacle and a really big barrier for some people. And I'm here to tell you that, number one, it's there's no such thing as perfect health. So it's not ever to be on a track to our perfect health and then one day we will have arrived and we'll just have it. Health isn't linear. It's something that you continue to work on throughout the course of your life. It's going to shift and it's going to change as you age, as your lifestyle changes. So I say that just to share with you that there's no absolutely perfect time. You do not have to have your own health all together before you start. And maybe you're in a position right now where your health is completely out of whack, where your focus and your energy might not allow it. That might be a little bit different. But overall, if you're in the middle of dealing with your own health issues, welcome to the club. I can guarantee you that anybody and everybody is in that same position with you. We've all got stuff. I am still dealing with my own health things and continue to troubleshoot, continue to find better ways to nourish my body. But you don't need to have all of your own health woes figured out before you can help someone else. Your help is needed right now. And your unique experiences and your health frustrations will only serve to strengthen your relatability to your clients. So being able to go in with someone who is sharing their struggles with you and say, I completely understand. I get it because I'm there. I've been there and I'm here to empower you on that journey as I continue to empower myself. It really does give you more of a relatability. So it's not a weakness. I see it as an immense strength. If you are ongoing dealing with your own health stuff, then I think that really puts you in a unique position to better equip and better help your clients. So those are just some things that I often see as some barriers and some obstacles for many people, some reasoning on why maybe you shouldn't get started, but maybe that's exactly why you should. Next little thing that I wanted to cover, and then I'm going to get to answering some of your questions. Here's some reasons why becoming an NTP or an NTC is right for you. So if you are someone who has a deep desire to help others, just in general, then I think this could be right for you. If you're someone who really wants to help others in their health, then this definitely could be the right thing for you. If you're someone who has been dealing with your own health issues, or you have seen different health struggles in your own family, and you have seen some improvement or resolution through dietary changes, or you are just intuiting that that might be the right track, this is an excellent course for you. If you are someone who wants to see a better way of healthcare for the future, this is the right course for you. If you like to motivate and encourage, definitely a good spot for you. If you just want the skills to nourish your own family, maybe you have no interest in helping others, totally fine. This is still an exceptional course to give you those tools and to give you that empowerment to know an exceptional, solid course for moving toward better health. If you have already been talking about these types of things in your own family, in your own community, maybe you've even done some talks, you're just finding yourself sharing this knowledge anyway about food-based health in your community, this is the right course for you. And if you're already doing these things in your own home and in your own kitchen, and you just want more knowledge and more skills, that's primarily the place that I was coming from when I started this course, then it's an exceptional course for you. Obviously, that's not an exhaustive list, but I think that's a good starting point. If you fall into any one of those categories, then this absolutely is an exceptional course for you. And I want to just tackle really quickly kind of after the program. So let's say you've gone through and you've gotten your certification either as an NTP or an NTC. What next? What do you even do with it? I think that is one of the most common questions. On a really broad scale, there's so much that you can do with it. It is kind of, as I mentioned before, it is what you make of it, but I'm going to give you some solid concrete things as well, just to give you some further motivation and just encouragement on what that can look like. So the first thing that I want to say, you've gone through the course, you've gotten your certification. The biggest thing is just to start. It's just to get practice under your belt, working with people, having those conversations, kind of getting your client practitioner dialogue underway, and just getting some confidence in that hands-on, just doing the work. You can only learn and get better and work out the kinks by practicing. And just like with anything else, you don't need to stress or pressure yourself into thinking, okay, I finished this certification, now I need to go and get another, and then I'll do the work. You absolutely will have the tools and the skills to hit the ground running, to get started immediately. And I see that kind of fear oftentimes. People think they need to immediately do more. And I am here to tell you that the best way to really solidify what you've learned is just to do it. What you will have at the end of this course is exactly what people need. So it's just getting out there and it's sharing that information. You'll really be amazed to see how relevant and how useful it is. It can be some of the simplest tweaks and the simplest changes to someone's diet and to their lifestyle that can really have some of the biggest impact. And you are just going to feel so much more motivated when you're able to see, wow, I've got that information. I can share that immediately. You'll get incredible tools throughout the course that you can use within your practice that are exceptional when working with clients. Things like a food journal, which is one of my all-time favorite tools in working with people, because it's giving you direct feedback on where someone is at this exact point in time, what they're putting into their bodies. But it's also exceptional for the client, because for many, it's the first time that they really begin to see this connection between the foods they're putting in their body and how they actually feel. Without monitoring, sometimes we never really tune into that. So having that monitoring by way of the food journal and the accountability with your help as a practitioner, there's so much work you can do with that alone. You also get access to what's called the NutriQ. It's an amazing online assessment, and there are some additional tools packed into that they just recently rolled out this last week. But the NutriQ is this comprehensive assessment. It asks so many exceptional questions that give you great feedback on your client, but they also start, again, to get your client thinking and kind of putting pieces together like, oh yeah, I've always been constipated or something like that. I didn't realize it was a big issue. So kind of some of these tools that get you in tune with your client, but they also start to get your client in tune with their own body. And then you also have some different guides and various things that you can use throughout your practice. And those are just a couple of the kind of hands-on tangible tools that you'll leave with, but you'll also leave with all of the wealth of information that you're going to learn and be able to put that into your practice. And you will just continue to add to this repertoire as you get to practicing with people. I've added some additional notes into my intake forms on mindset and how people approach their food, and it's stuff that's just come out as I've been working with people, and I see similar struggles and similar questions come up. So that's something that also will come with time. You'll add into kind of your toolkit and how you want to help and how you want to approach people. So what can you do with it? Many people just establish a private practice as nutritional consultants. So that is definitely something that you can do. A lot of people also partner with like-minded professionals in the field of holistic health. So acupuncturists, chiropractors, other functional medicine practitioners. So maybe you already have someone like that you're meeting with, and that could be a good step. You could have a conversation of, hey, I'm considering doing this. Would that be useful in your practice? Could we maybe partner together? So there's a lot of other ways that you can think about it. It's great to form an alliance and form a partnership to get referrals that way. I do want to make a quick note that the NTP and the NTC programs, they don't qualify you to work in a hospital or any other government regulated setting as a nutritionist. So there is a whole, there's a scope of practice thing that you can find on the website that really lines out, here's what we do and here's what we do not do. It's important to know that and just know what your limitations might be. You can do speaking events. You can write books. You can create online courses. I see a lot of practitioners do that, where maybe one-on-one work is not your cup of tea, but you feel like you have a lot of information that you want to share. Online courses are exceptional for that. You can lead group classes in your community, where you work out, at your library. There are all kinds of opportunities there. Sometimes others just take this knowledge and information to help their own families, and that's exceptional. Even if you are only helping yourself with this, that's one more person out there that has this information and this knowledge to really empower themselves to better health. You can do things like pantry sweeps and grocery store tours with your clients. So a big thing that you'll see is people just don't know, they don't know where to start. Often people know when they're not eating well, but they don't necessarily know what eating well should look like. And as I mentioned before, there's so much static and there's so much misinformation out there. So you could literally just go into someone's home and have a paid, encounter where you do a pantry sweep, where you go through and say, hey, instead of this, we're going to swap it out for this, and here's why, and just educate them kind of on that black and white, eat this, don't eat this type of stuff. You can host cooking classes and workshops. You can literally just hang out on social media and be consistent enough with it that you make money that way. That's the world that we live in. It perpetually blows my mind, but that's also a relevant aspect that you can do. And it's great. It's an exceptional platform to share the information that people need for free. So that's another way you can look at it. And then I would just say, build community around it. So if you've gone through the course, keep community as one of the biggest tools in your toolkit. Start building this during your training with your fellow classmates. Make those connections, form masterminds, just keep people in your corner that know what you're about, that can encourage you, that you can bounce ideas off of. Tap into that support whenever the going gets rough and you're struggling or you're doubting your knowledge or your skills. Definitely start doing that at the very beginning, and that's just going to continue to serve you all throughout. And then you definitely can get additional training as well. I just want to stress that that's not necessary. I chose to go that route just so I could go a little bit deeper with people and look at the gut and look at what's going on in there, but that's not something that you need to do. And I cannot stress enough that you will have the skills and you will have the tools when you finish to really be able to help people, to meet people where they are, because that's the biggest thing, and begin to motivate and begin to encourage, because you have what people need. So before I get to your questions, just a couple quick little notes on how to get started. Head to nutritionaltherapy.com if you haven't already. They have such good information there on just a full breakdown of each course, the curriculum. You can check out reading lists. And on that note, I would actually recommend maybe check out one of the books that's on that reading list. Start reading it already, just to get a taste, just to get an idea of what to expect. I absolutely loved that reading list. Actually, I just realized I had pulled one of those books. This is on the reading list. I was just thinking, oh, I should read that again. So it's going to continue to serve you. You can go back and read through those again. Definitely worth it. There's also a free course that you can take that kind of gives you just a basic breakdown of just the philosophy of the NTA, what you're going to learn. So that's kind of a nice free little appetizer if you just want to get an idea of what the program might look like. I want to stress again that registration for the May start ends April 26th, and the price goes up after that. So definitely, if you're thinking about it, now is an exceptional time to sign up. The price will go up for the September enrollment. You can also check out online kind of all of the different areas if you decide to go the practitioner course, where those workshops will be held. And you can look at it as either find one that's close to you, or maybe find one that's further away just for sake of something different and for traveling, and kind of being able to factor that into your 9-month training. Let's see. There is also the opportunity for scholarships. So for each enrollment, there's a scholarship opportunity, and you can learn more about that on the website as well. And I believe there is a payment plan that you can sign up for as well, but I don't want to overstep. That's not really my wheelhouse. But definitely nutritionaltherapy.com. You can learn so much over there about the courses, what to expect, what to look for. There's even there's a search tool to find practitioners near you. I've had quite a few people reach out to me here that are just like, hey, I'm in Colorado. I see that you are too. Can I ask you about the program? I've gotten coffee with a couple of people. That's always really fun to see. So that's just a great way to learn some more information and get connected with real people. And also, step one, you're here for this live video, which I so appreciate. So thank you again for sharing your time. So I want to get to some of your questions here. Oh, hi, Liz. This is so fun. I love seeing you guys over there. Okay, so Melanie asked, what questions should I ask myself when deciding between the consultant and practitioner programs? Oh, that's a really good question. So in terms of bulk of the material that you're going to learn, it is the same. With the practitioner track, you, number one, have that travel component. So you're going to have 3 workshop weekends where you will be in class with people. So I would say, even along those lines, a good question to ask yourself is, do you want that in-person experience? Do you learn better, or would you feel like you got more out of it if you had that aspect and that component to it? So that's a little bit of just knowing yourself and knowing your best learning environment. Both are still going to be primarily online. The other question I would ask is, in looking at what do you think you might want to do with your training after. The practitioner course goes a little bit deeper. It teaches you a hands-on approach called the functional evaluation. You can learn more about that on the website. I would definitely recommend checking that out. That can be uncomfortable for some people. It can be totally foreign to touch another person in general. And I don't want to make it sound weird, because it's not. It's very professional and very respectful, but some people can't really tolerate that, or can't handle the thought of that. So if you know right away that's not something you would ever want to do with a client, maybe consider that. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I would say to that, honestly. It kind of just depends on you and what you think you might be after, and what is really going to fit and mesh best with you and your personality and how you want to approach helping people. Let's see. Kate had asked about the restorative wellness program and what that entails. I would recommend, I'll give my information at the very end, maybe get in touch with me separately on that, because I don't want to take time away from this particular training, but I'd be happy to answer those questions for you personally. Melanie asked, what was your experience like after graduation, and where did I start? Hopefully I kind of answered that with my own story. Something I do want to mention here that brings to mind, after graduation, everyone is different. So you do have to take that into account. But something that I really recommend for brand new practitioners, because you are learning so much incredible information over a 9-month span, I always recommend people give themselves a little break. So for some people, they need to ride that momentum immediately and immediately jump into what they want to be doing with it. But I would argue that you need a little break. You need a little rest to pat yourself on the back first and foremost, because you've finished an exceptional course and you've worked so hard. And I just think people need to reward themselves for that. And I think that your brain and your body might need a little break after that. So I just say that I encourage people to give themselves permission to press pause. And then during that time, as your brain kind of resettles, I think you'll begin to find just more creativity, more ideas for what you might want to do and how you might want to use the training that you've just completed. So I think that that's really important. I think, again, it really is going to depend on the individual. You know, what your nature is even like. If you're someone that's really more of an online presence, maybe you want to focus on that track. If you're someone that is really extroverted and you like to be around people, I would say start looking at, can you partner with somebody? Do you have a chiropractor, an acupuncturist that you go to already that you can maybe have a chat with? Do some free talks. Just in setting yourself up at your library, or like Natural Grocer, for example, lets people come in and do different talks. That's just going to get you some visibility. It's going to get you practice on how to just further solidify your language. And it's going to show people, okay, this person is out there. It's at least going to plant a seed. Make some business cards. I know people think that business cards are dying out. I think it's still useful to have a tangible, here you go, here's my information. But yeah, I would say those are kind of some key things for how to start looking at it, at least. I hope that answers your question. That's where I started. As I mentioned, we moved right after I finished. And so kind of the networking that I had prior, I had to reinvent it here. So I connected with my local rancher. I've had some cool opportunities with her. Yeah, let's see, any other questions? Looks like that's it. If you guys have any additional questions, definitely check out nutritionaltherapy.com. They have an exceptional FAQ section, so your question might be answered in there. Look through the curriculum, just, get an idea of what to expect. I really can't speak more highly. Maybe I haven't done that enough throughout this live session, but I cannot speak more highly of, man, just the exceptional amount of information that you get. It is so worth your time. It's so worth your investment in comparison to other programs out there. Like, you are fully equipped. It's not reinventing the wheel. It isn't even presenting something that's brand new. It's reminding us of what's already been there. Real food is the best way to nourish your body. It's what your body was made for. And this is just further solidifying, giving you the tools for what that looks like and showing you how you can better help other people. And I tell you what, that empowerment piece, like, it just fires me up. I just actually got a message from one of my past clients' daughters today telling me how grateful she was for the work that I did with her mom, how she felt that she had her mom back. And that's why I do it. That's what makes my heart explode, being able to really enter into that space with someone, to have the honor and the privilege to walk with them on their journey and to be able to empower them. It's just the most incredible thing. So if you have further questions, you can definitely feel free to get in touch with me. You can find more about me over at ashleycastlenutrition.com, on Instagram at ashley.castle.nutrition. And if you have, like, feel free to send me a message over there, or anything else. I would be more than happy to help answer that for you as best I can. Other than that, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Definitely check out more nutritionaltherapy.com. See just the wealth of information that they have to offer. Get yourself signed up before cutoff, April 26th. And I hope to welcome you into that community. It's such an awesome space, such an awesome group of people. So thank you guys so much. What a privilege it was to chat with you today. And I hope to see you or chat with you later. Bye.